What's up, guys? Doing a quick video here on a security baton that I picked up, ASP Baton, your number one alternative. I'll say that for sure. And this one is going to be made out of heat-treated 4130 steel. In saying that, I didn't know nothing about this baton when I bought it. I just thought it was a great deal on an ASP baton. I went on a website looking for the glass breaker and the extender from one of my oldest ASP batons, and basically I picked those items up: glass breaker, extender, etc. But basically I picked those items up wanting to just spice up my ASP baton that I've had since the early 90s. This is an all blued ASP baton. This is my number one used ASP baton. I just wanted to upgrade it a little bit. You should have seen the tail cap before I replaced it. Used and abused. You can see many years of usage. That's important. That's why I'm showing you that. And this is another one that I have. But basically, I have the nickeled version. I have the stainless steel shaft version, and I have the blue version. These are the ones that I've had. Bought this in the 90s, late 2000s, 2000s, early when I bought these apps on. I've used them throughout my career in security and law enforcement, and I didn't realize that this ASP baton actually existed. I just thought it was a great deal, $50 on an ASP baton, so I figured I'd give it a shot and buy it. But receiving it, I found out that it's an alternative that ASP puts out to an ASP baton. So I was a little disappointed when I saw it, because this is an ASP baton to me. I didn't realize what I was getting until after getting it, and I see some issues right off the bat. The steel that it's made out of, it's made out of cheaper steel compared to the other ASP batons, and I see problems with this up front, the front shaft, where I showed you this years of abuse. Well, that's probably going to happen to this guy as well, by getting in and out of the patrol car, possibly falling off of out of the holder, just in running, accidentally falling. Just years of abuse. These things do hit the ground accidentally. Things happen. And I just don't see, by removing this metal protective piece, which is a very important piece because it protects the shaft and the stability of it, and it also protects everything else going on there, it protects the handle. By removing that, you're opening this up to catastrophic possible failure, and always having to replace this case, because it's going to rip, tear, or get messed up by closing the ASP baton, or this hitting the ground in that particular area. And years of abuse of somebody that's used these over and over for years realizes that just by looking at that one build of the item. This can fold over. That's a thin piece of, definitely can tell it's not the same steel. And another issue is the tail cap, and it's doing it again. You gotta really struggle to get this tail cap off, because the rubber band keeps on going. It keeps on wanting to unscrew the gasket with the tail cap. It keeps on coming off. This gasket goes over here and ends up here, and every time you take the tail cap off, the gasket goes with it. It won't stay seated where it's supposed to sit. So every time you open this up and every time you close it, it gets caught in the threads. So that's a little flaw there. And that's the steel. You can tell right off the bat. It's way cheaper if you know what the inside of what an ASP is supposed to look like. It looks like it's got copper, possibly another metal in there. It's not the same steel that these other ones are. And they took their logo off the shaft. Usually you would see ASP 21 there, patented 21, like all these other ones do, and I will show you that. You can tell right off the bat, definitely a different type of steel. And right there where you see that 21, you'll see that ASP patented. All these say that. It's just the newer one doesn't say it. See how that comes off, and the rubber band, the gasket stays where it's supposed to stay. I'll show you on this one. Gasket stays where it's supposed to stay. And that's another ASP. You know, all these other ones, the gaskets stay where they're supposed to stay. This one, every time you take the tail cap off, the gasket comes with the cap. So I noticed that right off the bat. The gasket is not seating properly. The front end is, I think over time, this is going to fail. So I'm probably going to send this back. I thought I was getting a great deal. I thought I was getting a normal ASP Baton, but I'm getting their alternative, their cheap alternative, and I can see this having issues in the future. But that is just my assessment of this this ASP Baton right here. It's geared towards the security professional. They have their new line of ASP Batons. They have one geared towards the security, that's geared towards law enforcement, and they have an executive protection one too. But they call it the #1 alternative, but I think it's going to be, I've seen $20 and $30 low budget ASP Batons out there built better than this one. I have, realistically. But I'm probably going to send this back. For the #1 reason, I don't like the protection up here. I think that's going to fail over time. I really do. It's going to lead to this getting ripped, dented, torn, and possibly damaging the shaft that controls this whole thing. Maybe even making this crack catastrophically failing, because I don't know how this new metal is going to take to impacting on the ground every time you go to close it. And definitely, there's a chance you're not going to hit dead center closing it and you're going to rip this rubber or destroy the rubber. That's just my quick assessment of it. You guys take it easy.